Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in the previous video, we finished up on the upper ball joints. So today we're going to be working on the lower ball joints. So let's just get to work. So for the lower ball joint, there's a whole bunch of things that you need to take off. Basically, first things first, you need to basically disengage the axle nut. You'll need to undo the tie rod here. You'll need to undo the upper control arm here. And you'll also need to undo the, of course, the lower ball joint nut right here. And as well as disconnect the caliper and take the rotor off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and basically do all this and show you guys once it's done. All right guys, so here's basically the whole arm assembly that I took off to get at this rear ball joint here. So you want to remove the rotor. I didn't do that beforehand. And I believe you have to remove the dust shield and this little bracket here as well to get enough clearance to press this out. So what I'm going to do is just remove the rotor. It's possible that these screws may be seized, so basically I'm going to use my impact driver for that. Yeah, so it's set there. Put this in, just basically hammer at it. And that came off. And then obviously when I reinstall, I'm gonna, oh, this one just comes right off. When I reinstall, I'm just gonna put some anti-seize on these so they don't seize up in the future. There you go, rotor's off. And we do need to get at these little screws here to remove this dust shield. I'm just wondering how. Well, I guess the dust shield can stay on. It's not really interfering with anything. You can always bend it a little bit more to do. So let's leave the dust shield on. We'll pry out this little ring here. So I just hammered it in multiple angles and got it out. So I'll probably just spray this all down with brake clean after. Let's just get this ring out. Oh yeah, filled with grease. Let's get that off. But as you can see, the movement isn't too bad. This thing is still got some life on it, but it's moving a little bit too easily, so it's about time to replace this. If you notice on the new ball joint, which I have this one here, like it's so difficult to move this. So Alright, now let's work on pressing this thing out. So I guess I'm going to be using this socket. There you go. Punched out the ball joint. Pretty easy, I would say. Again, using my 21mm, if you've seen my bushing install videos, still, this seems to be the go-to for everything. Plus, I kind of ruined that. Seems to have pressed in perfectly fine. So you want it to be flush over here. I mean, it's just coincidence that I have the numbers lined up, but you just want it flush. There you go. I think the snap ring has snapped in. Just poke around, make sure it's fully seated, and then I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. There we go. And that's basically it. This is ready to be reinstalled. Pretty straightforward, and it's actually a lot easier than I expected it to be. Alright guys, so here's some tips, I guess, for installing the ball joint. Always check your ball joints. So while I was installing this lower ball joint, I realized that this one brand new one that I ordered from Rock Auto was actually busted. It was worse than the one that was in the car. And how you would tell is basically you obviously you move it around. This moves really easily. The only thing that's actually making it hold tighter is this boot here. So once you remove the boot, I noticed that inside this particular ball joint, the grease was different from like the other one that I ordered. So then I also tried to move around this. You see how easy that moves? Well, it's not supposed to move like that, right? So this is supposed to have some sort of resistance, and a brand new one would be very difficult to move by hand. So this one actually moves really easily. So I didn't check the ball joints upon installing, so I had everything apart and realized that this one was busted, and I actually had to order a new one, which is right here. And that took about a week to get here, and obviously I had to put everything back, return all the tools that I rented, and all that kind of stuff. So I have to redo the ball joint. So today I'm basically redoing it. I'm not going to show you guys the footage on that because it's already been shown on how to do it. But just word of caution, make sure you check your ball joints. I mean, just because it feels stiff like that, it doesn't mean it is. And you would notice, you could even check it with the boot on. Like, this is pretty easy to move. So I'll show you the brand new one. I did check this one when I got it from Rock Auto. And the funny thing is, this particular ball joint that I got was a different color boot. The ones that I ordered did show in the picture that was blue boot. The other one was a blue boot that I installed, as you can see. And then this one came in a black boot. So it's a little fishy to me. I mean, the boot shouldn't matter, but it was just kind of weird that this one was the one that was busted and the one that was different colored. The new one that I got from Rock Auto, the replacement, came in a blue boot. As you can see, this is not moving. Like, you can't not move it. I'm putting a lot of force on here, and it's very difficult to move. Like, you can move it a little bit, but you can't. It's hard to move. So that's what you want. That's what a brand new ball joint should feel like. Not like this. Not like this. And I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on this one. Like, it's like a lot more than what I'm doing on this, and this one is just very loose. So make sure you check it. So I have to keep this basically for another couple weeks until Rock Auto decides if I have to send this back or not. But essentially, this one's definitely busted, so had to put everything back. But there you go, guys. That's how you check the ball joint. All right, guys. So as I was installing this new boot, the new ball joint on the one that with the replacement ball joint from Rock Auto, as I was removing this boot, it ripped. This was the same case for the one that was good that I installed. The boot ripped, so I had to reuse my original boot. So word of caution, TRW, they kind of suck. And if you look at the ball joint inside, there's not a lot of grease in there. There's grease, but there's not a lot. So I think I'm gonna pack this with some more grease like I did with the other one that was good, and then press it in. But that's another side note. It's probably going to be a lot of hassle to keep claiming these through Rock Auto, so I'm just going to put like an old boot on or whatever, or the good boot that was on the other ball joint. But yeah, very disappointing. Not very good, that's for sure. There you go, guys. That was the install for the lower ball joints. Had to utilize the socket and hammer method to basically knock the ball joint out because I didn't have the Honda adapters. You will definitely need the Honda adapters if you were to press it out using the press, but the socket and hammer method works as well. You can even install it using that method. The only thing that I had issues with is basically the parts. So make sure you check your parts before you even take anything apart, because I basically had one failing ball joint. The other ball joint, the boots just shattered when I installed it. And then the replacement for the broken ball joint the boot split. So I was told TRW was actually a pretty good brand for aftermarket parts, but so far 3 ball joints, all 3 I would say was pretty poor quality, and it was made in the USA. It wasn't made in China or something like that. So I'm not very impressed with that. I had to reuse my old boot on one of the sides, and then I had to basically use, I guess, a boot from the broken ball joint that they sent on the new ball joint that split. So yeah, that was it. So that was basically the install, guys. I hope this helps you guys out on your install. If you haven't already, please comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.